Y'all must all be with the garden.
We are.
Oh,
They're doing lunch and learn today.
okay.
12, starts at 12.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's to talk about
Yeah.
these gardens here.
Cool. Outstanding. Let me go throw this stuff in the back of my truck and I'm over here.
Yes.
I've lived in
Burned it.
sunshine for the last 3 days.
I bet.
I bet.
Just-
I say, we've been doing things in the morning and the evening, and we're not doing inside stuff.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't signed in, y'all mind signing in?
The last 3 days that we've on close out, it wasn't supposed to rain. I said, I got.
I don't even recognize you anymore. I mean, the short. The way you are, everything I didn't mention it in case you've been sick or something.
We're doing
I'll look at the weather before I
Okay,
do.
okay, that's good. That's good. Well, okay, you look wonderful.
I get it done, and I swear to God, I get in the house in
I feel
15
that.
minutes, it's coming. Well, if you just leave or stay out there, I'm not bored of it.
That's all. Like I said, I know.
You've seen it this short before. It's just been like-
It's been a while.
This is how it
Like I
used to
said,
be.
I'm just like, yeah, it's the redhead. Oh, no way.
I just got it back this short around Mother's Day.
It looks good.
Yeah, I like it.
It's a lot cooler for this time of year.
Yes.
And with the weight loss, my hair is thinning out some, which is really
Well,
common when you lose a lot of weight. And this makes it look thick.
Okay.
It's a vanity thing. I like my thick hair. I want it to still look thick. It still looks thick.
It'll probably come back in second at the end.
It will. It's just gonna take, once everything kind of stabilizes.
Yeah. I guess I need to sign in.
And are you the one that does the landscaping design kind of thing?
I used to,
Okay.
yeah, I went to school for landscape architecture. So I practiced that for a few years.
She's doing
Yeah.
really well.
But now I work, I'm gonna be in a full-time gardener for.
Okay, well. Okay, well, I don't have like light.
Resort and restaurant, and I mainly grow vegetables. I realize that.
Like I said,
It's in Loudon, it's windy, it's newer, they do a 1,200 winter, so it's a lake house, but there's like a fine dining restaurant on the property that's open to the public. And yeah,
Well,
so we have a garden.
I just had ISO for all night.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a garden of the month for,
Oh,
I think it's September, so you'll have to come.
Do it in the middle of the week when I can.
Oh, okay.
Well, or
It's
just kind of
well,
take from work to come. I can't make it a daytime thing.
Partial.
Okay,
points.
I don't think they've picked theirs.
If I know
Like you
ahead,
said,
enough ahead of time, sometimes I can just take off and go. I could do that, but I'd love to.
Or anytime.
Or gradually.
Yeah.
Well,
So if I,
So,
if
yeah.
I draft the landscape design for my house, got it? Okay, thank you. Because right now, It's got it's mulch and then there's a trim across and it has a green bush and a green. So it's that's a good blank slate. Yeah, blank slate.
Yeah.
So I'm told after seeing the garden with Ron County where we're. So it's I made every.
That's original. Yeah, I just
Well,
copied it.
we'll talk a little bit about
this.
Yeah. Well, see, I wanted
Yeah.
to, the legal sheet.
Of course, everybody does it.
Yeah.
Well, I plotted it out that way, and when I got put it out, I was, my computer didn't take legal sign paper. So I couldn't put it on a legal sheet.
Yeah, so I know, I managed to get it all to
Everything
fit.
should be working as it should.
Because the reading is cheaper.
The main valve that nobody can reach stays on. We'll drop
I
down.
just did this, I could, I'm not offended.
You've got the other one on there, so they've got control of their water.
Yeah.
For the front and the side.
Pick you up.
Haven't seen any leaks. You haven't heard anything, taken in vain. Everything's okay.
So I found out I couldn't put it on my printer. And I just spent all the time taking it and then I'm gonna change it. Those small format.
I know anything, I'll fill it in.
Y'all are in charge.
Okay, Amanda.
Y'all decide.
Do you
You wanna go first?
if you don't mind, I have, well, you're visiting from out of state. I need to get back, because I think today is the day.
Oh, so we're all going to hear.
You are welcome. And look at what I've got going on in my yard right now.
Hands up, sure.
Which isn't much because it's, we only put this in the buildings 1 year ago. Are we ready then? Okay, all right. So I gave everybody the handout, but I also have other materials for you to look at. Anyways, okay, so you want me to talk into this or how am I doing?
I will ignore this.
Okay, thank you. I'm a really bad public speaker. I'm just letting you know. I have a speech, I've written it. I wrote it and I've been practicing it, but just don't mind me if I get hung up because I freeze a lot, I stutter. So
Nobody expects perfection out of anybody, so it's okay.
we're gonna do our best. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Stacy. I'm one of the master gardeners. Most of you know me. I think all of you do. Yeah. So I'm here today to share this story of a very, very special place, the Native American Medicinal Garden. And while I wasn't a part of the original team that brought this garden to life, I now have the honor of helping care for it and its continuing mission. And for that, I'm really, really grateful to the original intern team who put this garden together. The garden was created in 2022 by a dedicated group of master gardener interns from Roane County, of course, with the support of Kingston City Parks and Recreation Department. It was designed as a public space to highlight, educate, and honor the role of native plants used by the Cherokee for healing. At its heart, this garden is both a tribute and a tool. It honors the longstanding knowledge of Cherokee healers, and it serves as an outdoor classroom where anyone can come to learn, reflect, and reconnect with the plants of this region. Let me give you a sense of what you'll find when you come and visit here. The garden is laid out in the shape of a medicine wheel, a symbol used by many native cultures to represent the cycles of life, health, and balance. In this circular arrangement, the plants are not just grouped for aesthetic or ecological reasons, but to reflect the interconnectedness that's central to Cherokee views of health. And I'll just put out there too, I'm also affiliated with the Western Band of the Cherokees. So it was truly an honor for them to choose me to help at this garden. Among the plants growing here are species like yarrow, which was traditionally used to stop bleeding and lower fevers. Yarrow is a tough little plant with feathery leaves and white flower clusters. The yarrow over there across from the beautyberry is really outgrowing its bed.
It does that.
There is other yarrow in the corner that is not doing as well, but it is a biennial. So you'll see the other yarrow come back next summer. I do have iron garden supports trying to hold back everything. Unfortunately, I do have the beautyberry held back by the garden iron supports. And that's working for them, but the yarrow has decided to grow into the beautyberry because they needed that relationship. So I will be ordering more iron supports probably next year because I've kind of used up my budget on the iron supports this year. So that's about the yarrow. The Cherokee used the yarrow not only to treat wounds, but to aid digestion and relieve toothaches. Not actually, it does make a good tea. Another important plant you might see is Monarda. It's also known as bee balm or wild bergamot. The Cherokee used it to treat colds and flu, particularly as a steam inhalation and to ease congestion. Its vibrant pink or red blooms are hard to miss, and they're a favorite of pollinators too. You'll see all the pollinators over there. They're having a field day. It's also good for the ecosystem. Just the fact that we have so many pollinators and different types of pollinators out there is really encouraging. As we all know, the honeybee population has been in decline. However, honeybees are European. They're not really as important to our pollinator population as our native solitary bees, such as a mason bee or our humble bumblebee. Even our carpenter bumblebees do a lot of pollinating. Usually they do a pollination by shaking the pollen from the flower onto other flowers rather than collecting it in buckets on their legs. The only problem with our native pollinators is that they don't produce honey. And that's it. But I would encourage all of you to learn more about our mason bees, our carpenter bees, or there's so many. There's about 120 different species of native solitary bee that are native to Tennessee. We are a biodiversity hotspot, especially with pollinators. I encourage everybody to plant a pollinator garden. And if you do native medicinals, that's okay too. So moving on, we'll go to echinacea, purple coneflower. Everybody knows what this is. It's endemic to Tennessee. We have our own variety that only grows here, Tennessee. It's widely known as a natural remedy to support the immune system. The Cherokee and other tribes have used it for centuries to treat infections, toothache, sore throats, and more. It's a striking plant. It's tall. It's beautiful. We love the blooms. It really draws in all the pollinators. It anchors the garden visually, and it offers important medicinal value, and it doesn't taste that bad either. You'll also find goldenrod, boneset, sweetgrass, and passion flower. Not all of those plants are planted in this garden. And if we did, they'd take over. It would be nice to have passion flower growing there. Passion flowers does tend to like a little bit of a shadier environment than the full sun that we have here, but you know, we can try. I was thinking about trying in between the flagpoles on a trellis just to see. But you know, it doesn't hurt to try. Passion flower also, by the way, is biennial, so it will every other year it will do well. So it's good to plant one year and then another one another year so that you have it continually running. So all these medicinal herbs are part of a worldview. In Cherokee culture, healing wasn't just about treating symptoms, but it was about restoring harmony. It might involve using herbs, but it could also involve prayer, ceremony, or seeking balance in one's relationships with family, community, and the land. As gardeners, we often focus on soil amendments, pest control, and bloom time, but this garden asks us to think a little differently. It reminds us that plants can be companions and teachers, and not just decorations. They can guide us toward more respectful ways of being in the world. And for those of us who are not Indigenous, this garden also challenges us to learn with humility. The Cherokee people lived in this region for centuries before removal policies forced them west along the Trail of Tears. Their knowledge of this land and its plants was intimate, tested over generations. What we now call ethnobotany was once simply how you lived, how you kept your family healthy, how you honored the gift of nature, how you treated a fever, grief, or a wound. And that's why from the beginning, the garden project included a commitment to consulting with Cherokee representatives. One of them was Lisa Bednar, brought some books for you to look at from her. She's a friend of mine. To ensure that our choices were not just botanically correct, but culturally respectful. We want this place to be a place that educates and not appropriates, a place that honors and not rewrites. The garden is open to the public, free of charge. You all know that. It sits within walking distance of the fort itself. I encourage everybody to visit the entire fort. And inside, Jack has pulled together a huge collection of Cherokee artifacts that have been found or donated to the fort. It's very interesting inside. The original team that created the garden took on many roles: project lead, communications, budgeting, site planning, signs. Temporary signs went up to let the community know something was in progress. And now as the project continues to grow, not just in plant size, but in community involvement, there are plans for permanent signs, potentially with QR codes, and you'll see some signs already out there. Some signs have been damaged by weather and need to be replaced, which will probably happen hopefully this year. We're also exploring the educational potential of the space. The garden is small. It opens up conversations about native species, about sustainability, and about indigenous knowledge systems. It also talks about how we care for the land and how we care for each other. I appreciate everybody's interest in this project, and I hope that we all leave today with a deeper appreciation for native plants, for the Cherokee knowledge, and for the power of gardens to connect us across cultures, across time, and back to the land itself. And I know it's a short speech, but we wanted time to look at the garden. And I also brought along some materials that I would like everybody to know about. These are books. And I would encourage you all to purchase these. These books were written by Lisa Bednar. It's the Simple Book of Herbs and Herbal Adventures. They're both very small, but they're very interesting reading. And she talks about in Herbal Adventures the story of her life and how she learned about herbs and as part of her Cherokee culture. The Simple Book of Herbs has a lot of really good information about how to grow these plants, whether they grow in pots very well, whether they grow in shady or sunny spots, and even potentially if you should plant them facing north, south, east, or west. So I would highly recommend, all you need to do is Google Lisa Bednar and the books, and her page will come up. Another book that I highly recommend is Braiding Sweetgrass. This is by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This book is written by a Native American with a PhD in botany and ecology. She talks about, in this book, she talks about growing plants, but also about how plants grow and the spirit within each other. And the spirit behind why plants like to grow together and why other plants like to grow apart. But also inside, she weaves stories about her life growing up, about her family's life. There's nothing in this book that is boring or uninteresting. She will give us botanical names and scientific names and talk about the science of plants, but she also talks about the creativity, and I can't say enough about it. Highly recommend reading that book. And there's another book. This is a friend of mine who lives in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. He's also from the Cherokees. He's Cherokee and Chickasaw. He and his friend wrote this book, How Medicine Came to the People, a Tale of the Ancient Cherokees. His friend illustrated the book. It's kind of a children's book. It has a lot of illustrations in it. It is a short story. It's a very interesting story. And in the back, It has an index of plants that Native Americans might have used the most. It also has a very short synopsis about what kind of herbal benefits might come from each of the plants. I would highly recommend, especially since this is a friend of mine, I would highly recommend also purchasing this book for your children. It has a really good story about how medicine came to the people. It's one of many stories. And we may hear other stories from other nations. So I also think that that book is also a good book to have in your library. And that's kind of it.
Are there any questions about that side of the garden? Because Stacy's gonna have to slip out in a few minutes, but Amanda's gonna talk about the other side. But is there any questions about that side of the garden?
So I have a question. So
Yeah.
when they, and I can probably find that out in these books that you recommended, but when the Native Americans used the plants, did they make paste? Did they make teas? What did they make with the plant to treat illnesses?
Well, that's a really good question. They might have used tallow with something like jewelweed to treat poison ivy. Jewelweed is a companion plant to poison ivy. You'll often see them growing together, and jewelweed is the remedy. So depending on the plant and the remedy, it will be dependent on the type of product that they produce with it.
And I just like herbs today, some of them.
Because I know mullein they traditionally made teas with, didn't they?
They're safe for paste.
And mullein
Tinctures.
mullein is a naturalized plant. It actually came from Europe, but it's been here for so long and it has been a good neighbor to our native plants and since it's not an invasive, it is considered a naturalized plant to the Americas now. Are there any other questions? I would encourage everybody to, while being careful of all the pollinators that are,
The bees are hard at work. I've been watching them.
yeah, they're very hard at work, and which is why I haven't really wanted to cut back very much. But being mindful of the bees, you can walk through the center pretty easily. I did cut back some of the mountain mint so that you'd be able to. The yarrow I will pin up sometime, sometime this summer. And the horsetail rush, oh my, we just can't contain that. I pulled all of that horsetail rush out of the pine needles. I pulled all of that probably 3 weeks ago. And that's how quickly it came back. So if anyone needs a horsetail rush, you're welcome to come and take some out of that pine straw area and take it home with you. If you need something to expand, if you have a hilly slope or something like that, those would work really well there. And actually, I am really surprised that it's doing so well because horsetail rush usually grows more in a shady, moist area, and it's growing here in full sun, dry area, and it just boggles my mind. But it's happy
Family
here.
likes it.
It is happy here. The horsetail rush spirit says, "I'm happy."
Yeah.
Could you possibly put little name tags on the different plants for people that don't know what they are?
Yeah, there are some name tags out there. Some of them are kind of covered up because they've run over the name tags. And the name tags that have been damaged or lost are going to get replaced. But you'll see the mountain mint name tag. There's a name tag out by the bergamot. There's also a name tag out by the horsetail rush. And I believe there's one over there by the beautyberry. And there's a couple of others.
What is the best material on name tags?
Ooh, I don't do those. You know?
I was one of the intern class that did that garden. And we originally had somebody in the group who husband had a laser etcher or something that was gonna do some, but I'm not sure that happened. I'm one of the few interns that are still here that did that class, I think, because there's not many of us left from that intern class that stayed.
I think it was Patty Brashears who did
She's done the signage that's here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they're on metal plates and they're printed
Right.
on and stuck to those metal plates.
yeah,
It's a company out of Michigan where those come from. 'Cause they
Yeah,
came to the office.
we need to probably just look at, do we need something like taller that kind of comes up in the middle of them or something? Because anything short quickly gets overrun, you don't
Yeah.
know it's there.
yeah.
And that was part of the consideration when we were making tags in the first place.
That's something that I can consider doing next year. I did spend a lot of the budget on the iron supports this year, and I wanted to keep some aside for, to plant some violet and wiry sage in this area where the pine straw is, to kind of keep down the crabgrass that keeps trying to take over.
But you could make signs out of 3D printed plaques.
Yeah,
Shows the right plastic, that's not UV sensitive, because
Yeah.
there's hundreds of different plastic
Sure.
material. The cheap stuff probably will turn white bracket, but you would.
yeah,
Just,
yeah.
just cheap plastic.
Well,
It was the right stuff.
We do have QR codes for most of the plants that were provided from the extension office, that if they've got any information about those plants at all, there's a QR code, which is it still in the
Yep.
brochure? So
Yeah.
when we made the
QR
brochure,
code.
when we made the brochure, there's a QR beside each plant name, which will tell you some stuff about it. And we would like to have the signs to also incorporate the QR code. But you gotta be careful what you make it out of, because if it's just like etched in, your camera may not, or probably won't pick it up. It needs to be something that's obvious
Well,
for
with
your
3D
camera.
printing, the letters would be raised off the background, and the QR code could be made by raised and not raised.
And the 3Ds that do more, multicolor, that would be a thing.
As long as
I
they
think
didn't.
having
Yeah.
taller little signs as well. is
I think
really good
color is a
idea.
good idea,
Yeah.
because we started with them too short, and now, I mean, it's been like 3 years, I got my 3-year PN. So, 4 years, because I was, and it has really, I mean, everything started out this big. And we had like, I think 3 or 4 different species in each quarter of the wheel. And you look now, and I mean, and they like each other, and they've grown into each other, but make friends. And, sometimes it's hard to tell where one begins and the other, stops. Like the yarrow and the mountain mint. If you don't know, you just look like, oh, there's the little white flowers. It's the whole one thing, but it's really 2 different
Two different
plants.
plants.
But yeah, you try to envision what it's going to look like when it gets mature, but it's a little difficult.
Mhm.
And you have to kind of grow with it as it grows. And
That's right.
Stacy has been wonderful. She came in as an intern after we had established it and wanted to go ahead and be a part of it. And she has just taken over so much and taken over so much of it and taken charge of it, especially, as I say, a lot of the intern class who developed it are either no longer Master Gardener program or have moved away or have gotten involved in other stuff and are not as involved in this. So, including me, I haven't done as much as I keep meaning to do, but life gets in the way, as we all know.
Any other questions?
Remind me, what is the plant that's the closest to us, and the bees are loving so much?
Oh, that's mountain mint.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, if you take a sprig, you can probably,
Oh, yeah.
actually, you could just,
Don't
Take it
plant it
down.
anywhere you don't want it to go.
I do have mountain mint. I also have mountain mint surrounded by eastern blue star and yarrow and a couple of other things that are holding it in check. So, and a cut plant and an indigo plant. And so they're being better about not taking over. So you can companion plan to keep the mountain mint a little bit more contained.
Plant all my mint spots.
Yeah. Other mints I would recommend in pots, yeah. Mountain mint is an indigenous species to Tennessee, so,
It makes a good tea.
yeah, it does. Yeah. You'll notice that the scent is not as strong as like peppermint or
Just regular garden mint, yeah.
yeah.
Could you provide how to do that sometime, like not now, but sometime could you provide how to make tea out of that? I wouldn't know where to start.
Okay.
Just boil it.
Yeah, just
Somehow.
you can put it fresh into, if you have a little, a tea.
Diffusion.
Yeah, one of those
Yeah.
little tea diffusers, or even just one of those
Set
little,
lights.
sets that sits on top of a cup and just pour hot water over that. You don't want too hot because it will burn up any minerals or vitamins or microvitamins that are within the leaves. But yeah, just
Chop it up like you would a tea.
that's, yeah.
And you can dry it and you can do it with dried as well.
You can. I do recommend fresh, and with a little bit of honey is really good.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not as strong as like a peppermint or a spearmint.
Amanda?
Yeah. Is that it?
Thank you.
I thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sometimes I don't stutter as much when I'm talking about things that I actually understand.
Oh,
Oh, no, I'm gonna.
sorry.
Go. Show this one.
This is a great book. I love this book.
And I thought my grandchildren were gonna get that book.
Oh, good, good.
I was thinking of buying a head.
Oh, I buy Christmas all year long. I buy Christmas all year long.
I don't have grandkids yet, so.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. No, I have 6. That's why I buy all year long.
Okay, so I'm Amanda. This is my second year with the Master Gardener program. And the project I'm going to be speaking about today was our intern project from the first year. There are 2 special members from the group as well here, Steve and Laura. So that you guys feel free to chime in if I leave anything out. My background is in landscape design. I went to school for landscape architecture. So I'm going to tailor the conversation more towards our design process and some of my recommendations, just because that's what I'm well versed in. But if you have any additional questions, let me know. So this project was one of our options, and we selected it because we love the site, the fort here, and it's becoming a state park later in the year. When we took this site on, it was full of some really large invasives, like burning bush. There were some lilies spreading in there, but for the most part, just really heavy mulch and not a very thoughtful design. So there are a couple different processes to landscape design. Some people will have a personal style that they kind of adopt, and all of their designs look the same. The approach that I tend to take is more specific to each location and the client. And that's what we kind of studied as a group. So the very first thing you're going to look at is the site analysis. So how is the site being used? How do we want the site to be used? What's already there? Kind of the resources we can replace with. And for this site, what we found was it's really just people passing by. So we wanted to complement what's existing. We have the fort in the background. We had the beautiful medicine wheel popping up across the sidewalk, and then the entrance to the building itself. So we don't want anything super distracting that's going to take away or become the focal point. We just want to enhance the experience as you move through. We also really valued pollination, birds and bees, native plants. So we tried to stick all to Tennessee natives. I'll talk a little more about how we selected the palette. And then we worked with the client. So Jack is the curator here, and he let us know that we have a lot of school groups. So we have some kids moseying in and out. But for the most part, guests are spending 10, 15 minutes here waiting on a relative that's inside or just sitting in the shade for a moment. This isn't what you would call a sticky space where people are sitting down to read a book for an hour or 2. So we didn't put any pathways through the landscape bed. Instead, we just put in 2 small seating spaces with boulders. So really the only components to our space are the plants that we put in and the boulders, which were donated from a fellow master gardener. So we have our biggest one. We have 3 rocks stacked up right here at the corner, kind of at a comfortable seat height. And almost every time that we've been at the space, we've seen people sitting on it. So that's really exciting that that succeeded. And then right at the entrance, when you step up, there are two lower flat boulders that also mainly for kids to kind of step up on or step out of the way. But I've seen people sitting on those as well. So the next thing is plants. How do you pick what plants to put in the space? There's millions of plants to choose from. So that can really be the most overwhelming part of a landscape design. What I prefer to do, especially if you're thinking of your own house, of your own garden, or if you're working with a homeowner, is have them walk the neighborhood and take photos of or nearby neighborhoods of homes with landscaping that they really like, or go on Pinterest and put some images. And that can really give you an idea of the style of garden that you like, or plants maybe that they're grown to. So we could have gone with a formal design, which would be hedges and layering. But the issue with that, what we've done here is we wanted what we say is a low maintenance garden. So there is maintenance that goes into this, but if you have a boxwood hedge around the perimeter and some of those boxwoods die, then it's really obvious that you've had loss and there's more maintenance that comes to that. The other maintenance thing is weeding. So to combat weeding, my biggest recommendation is to just go heavy on the plant material. We were super fortunate and had some donations, and we even have an upcoming grant we can access. So we were able to purchase quite a bit of plant material. So the more plants you can put in, the less weeds you're going to have overall. And then of course, mulching on top of that. So how we kind of refined the plant palette was we first looked at some different styles of gardens, formal, informal, and we were drawn to some that looked similar to what we chose. So we wanted a tree grove of some kind of ornamental trees and then low growing plants on the ground level. We limited it a little bit further by picking a specific color. So we wanted blooms that are pink or purple. I think we might have some white. But that helped us refine a little bit more. And then we also talked with the nurseries. So we built out kind of an ideal plant palette to start, but I'd say probably half of those species got swapped out based on recommendations that the experts at the nurseries had for us, and also just what's available. I think that we can all kind of get sucked into what's on sale, or we walk by through the garden center and see something that we really love, but then your garden seems to look a little hodgepodge, mix match. If you could do an overall theme or plan from the start and then build it over time, it'll be successful. I would say that we've had great success with the plants we've put in, probably more than 90% success rate. This was one of the most successful gardens that installations that I've seen. What you're looking at is only a year old, probably, yes, right at a year old. So already booming, in 2-3 years, it'll be even more filled in than it is already. So we had plans to come in this spring and add a second round of plants and fill the gaps, but there weren't many gaps. So I hope we've left the money for maintenance. The trees that we selected are American fringe trees, white fringe trees. Steve helped us work with Willow Ridge Nursery, I believe, to source those at a good price. They have beautiful white flowers that bring in lots of birds and bees. That was a new species to me, and I think all of us are learning about that one. So they'll get about 25 by 25 feet and fill in the space. So that might change some of the sun loving plants over time. But we've had great success with those, and not much watering. We have a team that waters a little bit, but since all of these plants are native, they're well suited for the region and they seem pretty happy. And then how we laid it out. So for a natural design, it can look a bit random, as if we've thrown out all these plants. But when we're repeating the same plants throughout the design, your eye is kind of drawn to the groupings and it looks like a flow. So if you put in one plant, don't just drop one, do groupings of say 3 or 5 all over the place. And they're repeated. So you'll see the irises throughout 8. I think we had maybe 10 plant species, and they're just all mixed throughout. So yeah, I think Yeah, we do have the monument in the center, so we wanted to kind of frame that space. See if I'm missing anything. The textures, we picked grasses, so you have some really the sharp kind of edginess of the irises and then the fluffy grasses blooming in between. We started out with, for the mulch, we just used what was free and donated to us from the city. We had a traditional kind of bark mulch down, and then we came back in with the pine straw on top of that, which I think really kind of naturalized the space a bit more. There are plans to, they are gonna till over this grass hillside that's behind the space and plant it in native grasses and wildflowers. And so really the hope is that it just looks cohesive and blends right in. We want this to look like it's been here forever and not out of place.
So Amanda, the Riverstone was also here when we started.
Yes, yeah.
And it ties into the medicine garden, so it used to line the whole bed, and what we did is we moved them back here because Jack, educated us on a drainage flow thing, so we were working around this drain right here. And so we moved all the river rock to the back, which should break the water and it won't wash our mulch and plants away.
Yep. Yes, thank you for mentioning that. So there was a concrete culvert drain underneath that rock. So we moved the rock from the border onto that. I think it was really successful at naturalizing it, slowing down the water, as she mentioned. And it's easier to weed too. Sometimes people have great intentions with the rock border, but since we have the sidewalk to contain the plants, it's much easier to weed and let the landscaping flow over those edges. Let's see what else. Bloom time was something that we looked at in the plant palette. We wanted interest all times of the year. So we've got the coneflowers blooming, the asters. We did have some spring bulbs that struggled a bit coming up. We'll see what happens this spring. If need be, we'll plant around those. Any questions off the bat?
You know what kind of the grass inside of that and what was after?
Yes, I do. The species? Yeah. So we have two kinds of grasses. There's a short one around the boulders up at the front, and that one is Pennsylvania sedge, which a lot of people grow in kind of shady, wet areas, but it's like she was saying with the horsetail rush, it's done really well. And then the taller one is lightning strike feather reed grass. So it's kind of a dwarf feather. It won't get huge. Some people get 5-6 feet tall grasses.
He's over next.
It's called lightning strike is the variety, but it's feather reed grass. Yeah. REED. The asters are October skies. Asters, those have gotten very large. Those were teensy tiny plants.
Did we know they were gonna get that base?
I don't know if we can there. So yeah, every install is a learning curve. There's definitely failures and successes with all of them. And yeah, the asters are much bigger than we thought. We really, for this project, we only installed 1 gallon and some 3 gallon for the bigger shrubs, but they weren't terribly large plants.
So if I get.
They are these fluffy purple here in the front. Dense.
How many avenues?
Probably at least 100.
I think we saw.
Yeah.
So we're not sure. They look like green onions when they come up, so we're not sure if somebody weeded for us or if they just didn't make it.
We'll find out this spring.
Yeah.
And then the install too. So of course we had our intern group to do it. We recruited help from the prisoners. The city gave us that manpower to come in and help, and then Parks and Rec helped us move these and set these boulders because of course we couldn't have done that on our own.
She's pretty smart.
So I'm shocked. I think one of the biggest successes is that we haven't had those invasives pop back up from the root. We did what we could to dig them out. We took out lots of root ball, and then we put down a layer of compost before we planted. Oh yes, we did sprinkle some pre-emergent to try to keep the weeds at bay.
How many inches of mulch you want right down?
It wasn't a big layer, probably 2 inches. But we did have a generous layer of compost that we planted. It makes probably 4 to 5 inches of compost. So then maybe 2 inches of mulch on top. The city gave us bag mulch, so we just had a couple bags scattered throughout. And then the pine straw we laid on pretty thick. I think another 2 inches of pine straw. I didn't know. Yeah. Yes.
Steve picked up the mushroom compost for the water. That we got the mushroom compost in. Which Monterey mushrooms, is that where you got the compost? Monterey. So we had like some mushrooms come out, but they look natural.
So are they giving out to the public again? Wish we could buy it, the public could get it, but last time I checked, you couldn't get it.
I think they are, yeah.
Familiar with that, the well rotted compost has been pretty much all bought up by some big concerns out of Atlanta and Nashville for years now. But just the regular, the regular run of the mill.
Okay,
This time of year, it's more prominent in the summer to be able to get it when they're just had legitimate wood. In the winter, it's hard to get a hold of it if we're looking for it. You have to hit it at the right time to get it.
Yeah.
And if they're not using it for county projects.
Like Steve said, it's not well aged. It's, if you get it now, it's gonna be 6 months before it's really broken down and added
You're
value.
gonna lose at least, probably close to half of the volume.
Right.
sure. But it's still
And it's
worth
gonna-
to get it.
And it's gonna, if you add all these credits, it's gonna take away more nitrogen. At that point, as it's breaking down, then it's ever
Then
going
it's
to
adding.
you benefit, so it's better to let it break down before you use it. Go ahead and get it, but let it break down. Also if there's any herbicide or anything, burn off and things like that. Cause you don't know where those what that wood chip has been through. Now, that's the other.
Last time we were out here, I did get some questions about the budget. We estimated it would be almost 2,700 for to install the design, and it came in at 1,500. So we did really well, the budget side of it. One little quote I hear a lot is it takes time or money to have a successful garden. So thankfully we went the money route. We also have some time to maintain it.
Thank you for maintaining it. So often gardens go in, but nobody maintains anything.
Right.
Well, that was the problem with the garden that was there before. And it was just the group that had it had all aged and no one had gotten back. They had got young blood in and they just got where they weren't able to take care of it. And they actually were grateful to have someone else taken over.
Yeah, we've done a couple weeding days. I think we've got here for sure more than me, but not too much maintenance overall.
I will see it.
Use the water system.
No, there's not. I think we do catch quite a bit of the if there's heavy rain, what overflows from that drain just off the hill, but there's a hose we can hook up and water. We did have some sprinklers set up on the initial install just to get things established, but that was about it.
I guess with natives, you don't really have to worry about that too much.
Exactly. Yep, these are all full sun. Natives.
Jackie told me earlier that if he sees them look a little wilted, he wants them.
Oh, well, then maybe there's a little more maintenance than we think, but.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me a while ago.
Oh, thankfully, yeah, Jack's been awesome to work with.
He has been.
And I think he said updated today, it will become a state park in November. And once that happens, the state had initially promised us 3,000 for the project up front. So that got delayed when the park got, when that process got delayed. So we could have another 3,000 coming in. And we had talked a little bit with the medicine, some other volunteers about the potential of maybe just wrapping the same concept around the medicine wheel. So then the medicine wheel would come up through the center and be a little focus point.
Is that on the Father Gilead?
That is the bee balm, I believe, if we're talking about the same one. It's not fun when you're back. So that is all we do.
Are these?
Three pods, I believe.
So if they drop, they're gonna grow another one?
Yes, a lot of these plants are self-sustaining, so definitely just act. We'll probably do more thinning as years to come, but. Yeah, those are awesome to go. The Fothergilla, that was our white bloomer, the trees, then the Fothergilla is a shrub that has a really pretty dainty white flower. And then great fall colors, so those leaves will fade to yellow and orange. It's just.
Twitch.
That's it. Fothergilla is a
Yes.
really awesome plant for at least 3 years or 3 seasons of strong interest.
Are you calling it Father Yellow?
Huh?
What are you saying?
It's called Fothergilla. Like Gilla.
Yeah.
There is.
I
a
think
sign
that
because
Mount
I don't
Airy.
know how to say it either.
Yeah.
There is a sign out there.
And
Yeah.
actually, those are the same type of signs that we originally had at the medicine wheel. But some of them didn't weather well. I don't know if they
Yeah.
just got lost. The public, I don't think the public bothered them too much, but
They're flimsy.
they seem to be some attrition going on.
Yes. Yeah, these are some signs. We love the idea of the QR code, and we still might do one sign with a QR code that maybe links you to this process and tells you more about the specific plants. But we just have the little metal signs with the basic common name, so just Aster, Fothergilla. And those we ordered on Amazon in a bundle, and the letters are just stickers. We printed those stickers with a Cricut machine, but you can also buy the individual letters to press on. They've done okay.
The trees, you said will get 25 feet.
Or maybe it's small. We picked the smallest variety. I think 25 is the max. I see them more like 15 feet and they'll blend together.
Yeah.
We wanted some kind of partial shade on the sidewalk to pull down that entrance. But no large specimen trees. Another similar tree that I see a lot is a sweet bay magnolia. They have a real glossy leaf, pretty bloom, and that multi-stem trunk. So that would be another good alternative. Any more questions? Well, feel free to explore it. Let us know if you have any that pop up.
Work.
Sweating.
Yeah. So I don't have to try too hard to sweat today.
No, glad we have one for work.
So I didn't realize they were 2 separate gardens.
Oh, okay.
Holy heat.
Check out a friend's tree.
Yeah.
How have you been?
Good.
How was your things with your sister who lost it? It was your sister
Mhm.
who lost it?
She, they've got a new house set up and moved in mid-May, I think.
Okay, great.
Or no, they moved in mid-June. Take
Okay.
it back. They were here in mid-May.
Okay, look, I get my months
But-
mixed up.
They're doing good. The kids, first time the kids have had their own room and they're having all shades of fun.
Yeah, if you can get a blessing out of a tragedy, it's always good.